Ladies and gentlemen, the Oakland County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard. And now Mrs. LaMarsha Spine will sing the national anthem. For those who are not standing, will you stand, please?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave, wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Yeah, I'll go up. Can I assume that you're standing for me? I love it. Why don't you have a seat? And Shirley, welcome to the 2020 Pontiac State of the City address. That was a great opening ceremony. So let's give a big round of applause to the honor guard and to Miss LaMarsha Spine. They were awesome, and we surely appreciate them being here this evening. I'm so glad that many of you came out this evening. For those of you who don't know, my name is Tom Kimball, and I'll be kind of serving as the Masters of Ceremonies this evening. I wish more of you would have been able to attend in person. However, because of the coronavirus, we were limited to the number of people who could attend in person, as you well know. So for those of you who are watching by Facebook Live, we welcome you as well. And I gotta say, isn't technology fantastic? You know, I have suddenly increased my virtual vocabulary. Now I know about Zoom. Now I know about GoToMeetings and Google Meetings, YouTube Live and Facebook Live. Now this is the problem. All these people that invite me to these meetings don't quite understand that I'm a senior. And these different platforms are very challenging for me in terms of my short-term memory, all right? So I can't catch all of them. So what I would really like to see is everybody use one platform so us seniors can have a better idea of how to use them properly. And if you did that, I promise you that seniors would be able to master these platforms in a very nice way. Now that I got that off my chest, I know we look a little different this year with our masks on and we're all spaced apart, but it's what we need to do to stay safe through these pandemic times, particularly black men to stay safe. The coronavirus is after old black men like me. Ain't no doubt about it, all right? And there are also some issues out there that's facing our young black men, all right? They're dying also. So we need to make sure that the older ones of us and the younger ones of us continue to live very prosperous lives. You know, all we really want, as it used to say in George Jefferson, is a high apartment in the sky and a piece of the pie. That's all we want. And to do that, all right, we have to stay living. So help us protect ourselves as we move forward. Now that I got that off my chest, we would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors for this evening. United Shore for opening their doors and giving us the opportunity to once again have this forum in their beautiful facility. And we're so thankful that United Shore decided to make Pontiac its home. And then there's Goldner Wash Garden and Home Nursery, who provided these beautiful flowers that you see on stage today. Goldner is one of the oldest businesses in the city of Pontiac, and they're on Orchard Lake. And we thank them for their donation and their continuous support of the city. Now, if you need a mortgage, don't forget United Shore, all right? And if you need flowers, don't forget maybe to stop by Golden Wash. And with that, let's give our sponsors a really big hand. Thank you so much. Let me take this opportunity to introduce Reverend Derek McDonald. He's the pastor of the Prospect Missionary Baptist Church, and Pastor McDonald will give us the invocation.
Let us bow our heads in prayer. Most gracious and loving God, our Father, we truly come this day to say thank you. God, we say thank you on behalf of all who have gathered here in this place today. We thank you, Lord, for United Shore opening the doors of this venue, providing an opportunity for us to come in a safe manner to hear the State of the City address. We thank you, Lord, for your many abundant blessings. We thank you for life all by itself, for the measure of health and strength that we have. We thank you for the opportunity the need to fulfill our callings that you've given to us, for provisions that you provided to us, and for the friendship and fellowship that we share here on this day. We thank you, God, for the ability to be involved in a useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities one to another. God, we thank you for the freedom to embrace you. We thank you for your loving kindness. We thank you for loving us and for your never-ending grace and mercy and your gracious nature toward us. God, in your word, you have said that as citizens we ought to obey the governing authorities that have been placed over us, since you established those very authorities to promote peace, order, and justice in this land. Therefore, God, tonight I pray for your peace in our city. I pray for your peace in our state. I pray for your peace in our country. I pray for our mayor, for the various levels of city government. We pray for our council. And then, God, I'm asking that you would graciously grant them the wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times. We pray that you would grant them a sense of the welfare and true needs of our people. God, we pray that you would grant them an intense thirst for justice and rightness. We pray, God, that you would grant them the confidence in what is good and fitting for this city. Then, God, we ask that you would grant them the ability to work together in harmony, even when there is honest disagreement. Then, God, we pray for each and every one of their personal peace in their lives. We pray for personal joy in their task. Now, Lord, we pray for the invoking of your presence in this place and for your invoking of your presence in the agenda that is set before us this day. Please give an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our beloved city. Merciful, kind God, we need you on this day as we continue to live in this ever-changing world. We are seeking your direction, God, for our lives. And God, we ask all of these things tonight. In the blessed name of Jesus, we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor McDonald. We appreciate your support. Let me take this opportunity to introduce to some of you, and some of you who already know him, I'll just present him. Mark S. Lee is president and CEO of Lee Group, an independent integrated marketing consulting firm focused on providing marketing, branding, and communication solutions to its clients. But many of you may know Mark as a columnist and an on-air personality. His column turned blog, Small Talk with Mark S. Lee, appeared in the Michigan Chronicle for 3 years. and now it appears by blog at Crane's Detroit Business. He provided tips on how to grow your business and inspire individuals to become entrepreneurs. Lee currently hosts In the Conference Room with Mark S. Lee, which airs on radio 9:10 a.m. Superstation in Detroit. Now, quickly, some 35 years ago, Mark and his family lived directly behind me. And he and his little brother used to come in my yard all the time, and I used to have to run them out, all right? And they didn't like me all that well. But I knew right then that this young man had substantial potential, and one day he was going to make a meaningful role in society to make this world a little bit bigger, a little bit better, and a little bit brighter. So I ask that you applaud with me Mr. Mark S. Lee as he comes up front here. My man.
All right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. And thank you for having me. And Tom, I appreciate it. I do remember those days you kicking me out. And I get to pay you back one of these days over in Southfield, where we used to live over in the Southfield area. But again, good evening, and thank you, Tom, and I'm happy to be back to be participating in this evening's event. I'm very pleased and humbled to have the opportunity to come back to speak with all of you, to all of you. And my name is Mark S. Lee, and I am, as Tom referenced, I have my own business. I also host a radio show. I contribute to different TV stations here in town, from Fox 2 News all the way up to Channel 56, which is American Black Journal, and all the stations in between. I'm also an adjunct professor. I'm an adjunct professor at Eastern Michigan University, which is my alma mater. I also teach at Northwood University and Madonna University as well. So I did got my hands a little bit full. I also co-host. We just launched a TV show here in Pontiac called Conversations with the Mayor. We just launched it in June, and it's going to be an ongoing series. So make a note, every second Wednesday at 1 o'clock is a 30-minute broadcast you can watch via Zoom and other social media channels. But at this point, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the 2020 State of the City Address for this great city of Pontiac. And as referenced, this year's theme is City of Transformation and Growth. And how appropriate, let's think about this for a second, how appropriate is that theme, is this theme with everything that's going on? We are living in unprecedented times. We are living in unprecedented times. I lived through the '67 riots in Detroit. I saw tanks going up my street. I saw the smoke going up in the distance. And I tell people, I get asked this a lot of times about what's going on today, and I say, I've never seen anything like this. So we are truly living in unprecedented times. We're all aware of the COVID-19 challenges. I heard a statement this morning that each and every single person in this country, in some way, shape, or form, is being affected by COVID-19. Think about that. We have 325 million people in this great country of ours, 7 billion people globally. Every single person in the United States of America is being impacted by COVID-19. And we also know about the protests that are currently taking place, not only across our great country, but also across the globe. And I believe that we are at a crossroads. We are at a crossroads. And when you get to the crossroads, you can go to the left, you can go to the right, you can move ahead, or you can go backwards. The question becomes, which way do you turn? A lot of people in this town know me for entrepreneurship. I focus a lot of my talk around small business development, marketing, branding. I do a lot of public speaking across this region, across the state, and across the country. So let me just give you some statistics. It talks about the importance of business and the importance of entrepreneurs across this great region and across our country. According to the Stanford Institute for Economic Policy, I want you to pay very close attention to this. From February through April, the pandemic hit in March. Our country has seen an active number of business owners decline. Active number of business owners declined by 3.3 million, or 22%. That's from February to April. Amongst African Americans, that number has fallen by 41%. 41%. So 4 out of every 10 businesses amongst African Americans have become inactive. If that doesn't jar you, nothing will. And this is before the pandemic went full throttle. Amongst Latino businesses, 32% decline. Amongst Asian business owners, 26% decline in terms of the number of businesses being active. And then lastly, and I've written about this in Cranes, I've talked about other media outlets, over an 8-week period beginning in the month of March, in mid-March, according to the Washington Post, 100,000 businesses shuttered permanently as a direct result of the pandemic. That does not include the unrest that we're seeing across the country. Other businesses are shutting down because of that as well. So I say that to say we are at a crossroads. And when we're at this crossroad, I want you to understand that entrepreneurship is critical. And Pontiac's beginning to attract new businesses and attracting entrepreneurs. 60 to 70% of the net new jobs in this country, 60 to 70% of net new jobs in this country are created by entrepreneurs. 1.5 million jobs annually are created by small businesses. That's more so than the larger organizations. No disrespect to our larger companies at all. But people don't understand is that small businesses are actually the economic generators in this country. So it's important from a business standpoint that with everything that's going on, we need to understand that. So as we talk about this crossroads, and which way do we turn? That's where Pontiac is turning the corner. And I'm tying this back to a city of transformation and growth. And I do want to put that in perspective for you. 1 second. The city of Detroit, I know we're in Pontiac, but I always like to use it as a reference point. The city of Detroit has 62,000 small businesses from downtown to 8 Mile. Telegraph to Gratiot. And I said 100,000 businesses are shuttered. You understand what I'm getting at here? So every business in the city of Detroit is shut down, and then some. That's the impact. So let's talk about how do you handle adversity. It builds character, and from character comes leadership. And let's talk about that leadership. You know, under Mayor Waterman's leadership, along with members of the City Council, Oakland County Exec, business and community leaders, there is a driving force behind change. It comes when people get together. You see, you cannot have success without collaboration in a team that shares a collective vision, mission, common goals, and objectives. You just can't. You just can't. So tonight, Mayor Waterman will provide a recap of the past year, including the challenges and the achievements. And also, she's going to look ahead, and she is going to cover such topics as the COVID-19 impact on the great city of Pontiac. Police reform, we've been hearing a lot about that. Police reform and social justice. Economic development, specifically that little itty-bitty company called Amazon. Jobs, medical marijuana, blight-free achievements, all of that she's going to be addressing. The mayor will also present the Partner in Progress Award to those individuals or organizations who have played a key role in serving the community, hoping to grow the city, create a positive image, and foster the spirit of unity, and this is the key word, inclusiveness. Isn't that what we want in this country right now? Let's just say it, don't we? Come on, let's say it, don't we? Yes, we want inclusiveness. Too many people in our country are not feeling included as part of the process. And the only way that we're going to continue to unify our country, our state, our region, this city, is to work together. It's not rocket science. Let's put aside our differences and work together. So as referenced earlier, Pontiac is beginning to do that. It's transforming itself and it's growing. And now the city has a enhanced position of financial stabilization, economic and community development, which ultimately will enable the city to continue to grow as it revitalizes itself as a livable community, sustainable community with focus on economic and community development. So caring for people has always been Mayor Waterman's calling. Serving as a surgeon, ophthalmologist For nearly 3 decades, she was always concerned about the vision of her parents, of her patients, her parents as well. Transforming from her patient's vision to a community's vision, Mayor Waterman's path to politics stemmed from her concern for that Pontiac Public Library would close and not allow the community and generations of children to have educational opportunities. To prevent that, she formed a steering committee that successfully passed a millage in 2006 to keep the library open. She was elected to the Pontiac Public Library Board of Trustees in 2009 and served as the chairwoman for 2 terms. Her journey over the years included many organizational leadership positions, including chairwoman of the National Medical Association Region 4 and president of the Associated Healthcare Providers. She served on the Pontiac Charter Revision Commission from 2012 to 2013, which aimed to revise Pontiac's governing documents that had been unchanged for nearly 30 years. She resigned and gave up her lucrative practice to run for the office of Mayor of Pontiac. As the Great Recession bottomed out in 2009, Pontiac was in dire straits, let's call it as we see it. It was ravaged by the auto industry job losses and shrinking population. The city was faced with swaths of vacant factory sites, a $6 million budget shortfall, and $100 million in accumulated debt. On January 4th, 2014, Dr. Deirdre Waterman was sworn in as mayor of the city of Pontiac. And she is the first woman mayor in Pontiac's history. And in 2017, she became the first mayor to earn a second consecutive term. And under Mayor Waterman's leadership, which we talked about earlier, the city of Pontiac has achieved fiscal solvency. And at the end of this year, Pontiac would generate a $15.5 million general fund surplus. So yes, Pontiac has come a long ways. So what I'd like for you to do at this point is to turn your attention to the screen to see the recent highlights of a city in transformation.
That this is the end of the era for the Silver Dome as a structure that is going to be demolished here in the city of Pontiac, but it's also symbolic of the fact that Pontiac is coming into a new era.
I am so happy to be here for this ribbon cutting, this opening. Happy to see so many faces. Happy to have my compatriot here, Leo Savoy, as we have said on the JDC, to make sure that this would happen.
Hello, Pontiac. This is Mayor Waterman again, asking you to help us with the census. In Pontiac, we care about Pontiac, and I, as your mayor, care about the budget and the funding that we get to do all the things that help the citizens in our community. We have a constitutionally ordered census count every 10 years, and this year is the year. Here, everyone counts. Thank you for getting out that message. Thank you for filling out that census, and I thank you to all of those who've stepped up to be part of getting that messaging to you to realize how important that is this year in Pontiac. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Good evening, everyone. You know, there's excitement all around about the transformation and growth that's happening right here in Pontiac. That's why I chose that as the theme of this, my 6th State of the City address, to which I welcome you this evening. You look all COVID-19 appropriate with all your masks, social distancing here. And those are given these restrictions due to COVID-19 that we are hosting it with a limited audience here at site today, while most of you who are watching are joining us online. And those of you here with your masks on and social distancing, you look right for the moment we are in today. Given the format, I'm going to forego some of the traditional programming and acknowledgments. Thank you to United Shore for once again providing the venue, and to City Council, my department heads and staff for all you have done to make Pontiac a better place to live. Let's start on where we are with COVID-19. With a population of about 60,000, Pontiac had approximately 554 cases, 40 unfortunate deaths, and about 92 cases per 10,000 people. Clearly, the virus has hit communities of color harder by all the statistics that are now being reported. That is something our state and federal officials need to do something more about. Along with the African American Mayors Association and other medical authorities, I have called for mandatory tracking of cases by race so that we can know exactly the disproportionate toll this has taken on people of color. Using such data, perhaps we can start to have the candid conversation to create the policy changes that need to occur to eliminate these glaring inequities in our healthcare system. While I'm glad we finally did establish the first drive-through testing site right here in Pontiac with County Executive Dave Coulter there, I wish it would have happened quicker here and across the country. Data is critical at controlling the disease, as we know. It has life and death consequences, and we need more of it. We will soon be introducing Pontiac Connect, an app provided to the city by Kaiba. It will allow us to do contract tracing and connect residents with healthcare information and other programs and resources. It will provide custom data to Pontiac and put us on the cutting edge of data collection and using technology to slow the spread of COVID-19. For now, at least, it appears the curve in Michigan is flattening. But I can assure you, because of the disproportionate impact it has had on people of color, it's going to take some of us much longer to feel safe again, and for good reason. That is something that every resident, elected official, employer, and business needs to keep in mind as we move forward. As Governor Whitmer has lifted the stay home, stay safe order, we will reopen City Hall to the public next month. When we do, there will be personal protection equipment in place and measures to reduce face-to-face contact. We look forward to welcoming the public back to City Hall, and we have been making plans to be able to phase in services to their full quotient. We have also initiated business support services and distributed toolkits to hundreds of local businesses with PPE and guidelines on how to reopen safely. We have also hosted several well-attended teleconferences with businesses, updating them about the resources and funding available to them. Working with Oakland County, over 600 businesses, or rather 60 businesses, have received grants under the Payroll Protection Plan to rehire workers or sustain themselves during the downturn. As our city and state reopen, it's critical that we continue adhering to social distancing guidelines and wearing face masks and washing our hands thoroughly and frequently. I can't stress enough how important it is to continue to take appropriate precautions. This virus is still very dangerous and has already taken quite a toll. I'd like to thank everyone who is stepping up to meet the unprecedented challenge of COVID-19. Pontiac's resilience is on full display. When COVID-19 hit, we declared a state of emergency early on in Pontiac in adherence with the governor's declaration and shut down non-essential services to protect our employees and the public. My staff continues to serve the residents of Pontiac while doing our part to slow the spread, and I am very appreciative of that, and would now ask that my department heads, my executive staff, please stand to be recognized for your public service. Thank you. And my deputy mayor, right, Jane Bias DeSessa. In addition to the pandemic, there was a food security crisis which threatened the poor, homebound, and senior populations. On top of staying safe, people should not have to worry about food or how they're going to pay to feed their family. In true Pontiac fashion, our community was not about to let that happen. I am so proud of how we united to take on that challenge. It's reflective of the overall effort of a collective group made up of nonprofits, foundations, and civic-minded organizations and individuals. We are strategizing how to best invest in Pontiac and the city's future. The pandemic galvanized a coordinated action of so many groups that came up with creative ideas to support our restaurants and also serve our frontline workers battling the crisis. An example of this is the Spirit of Pontiac initiative, where charitable donors were matched with struggling restaurants who were adversely affected by the shutdown. These restaurants provided meals to first responders and essential workers. This is an example of a true win-win, providing business to restaurants while showing our support and solidarity with our frontline heroes. I'd particularly like to thank Rosa Randolph and our partners at Pontiac Meals on Wheels Foundation. Their efforts ensured that our senior population received food and groceries throughout the COVID-19 crisis. They were assisted by the senior specialists of our senior centers. Mark this, over 52,000 meals have been delivered by this partnership to date. That's right, 52,000. Our volunteers are also assisting with other needs, from daycare for essential workers to phone calls to combat loneliness among seniors and other needs while sheltering in place. I also mentioned the collaboration between the Pontiac Community Foundation, Lighthouse of Oakland County, and Oakland University. That is also playing a pivotal role in this crisis. That program is now feeding approximately 2,500 families a week with door-to-door services. Pontiac has also recognized our first responders and essential workers with a banner that hangs proudly from the Phoenix Center in recognition and thanks for their efforts. A tribute from a grateful city to those who guarded the health and safety of so many who have been stricken by this disease. Thank you again to all of you who stepped up amid this crisis. It was wonderful. Now, during these difficult times, I think it's important for the citizens to hear from city leadership on how we are doing as a city. It's also important to understand that while there has been much progress, 2020 shows us that there are many challenges ahead. Some we know about, others we probably not. As an ophthalmologist by trade, I'm familiar with 20/20 vision as the standard benchmark for clear vision. But 2020 has an incongruous meaning for where we find ourselves this year. Who saw this mess coming? With a pandemic and a nationwide social justice movement underway, we weren't really aware of this, and that was not hindsight or foresight, was not 2020 this year. It's been one of the hardest half years any of us can remember, very historic. Some challenges we face as a city, and some we face as a nation and collective human family, but they are all intertwined. So will our ability to overcome them. I'm honored to serve as Pontiac's mayor and want to highlight how far this city has come in the past 6 years before COVID-19 brought the world to a halt, and before the last 8 minutes and 46 seconds of George Floyd's life changed everything. The outrage for that tragic event sparked a social justice movement that has reverberated around the world. The pandemic exposed inequities and the systemic racism that will impact Pontiac's future. It's important for us to have the difficult conversations about fairness and justice. It's also important to understand where we are as a city as we navigate these crises and shape Pontiac's future. We've learned some painful lessons over the past few decades. Urban sprawl devastated many great cities. The decades-long decline of the auto industry gutted our economy and tax base. The industry nearly collapsed amid the Great Recession. At one time in city's history, General Motors dominated as the prevailing employer, with the city government falling close behind. 1 in 3 workers in Pontiac at that time was employed either by General Motors or the city itself. So when the auto industry tumbled, Pontiac was nearly flattened. What followed was a financial crisis with 3 emergency managers who dismantled city government and conducted one of the largest municipal fire sales this country has ever seen. When I took office, we were saddled with poor contracts and next to no city government staff, 28 to be exact. Many valuable assets had been sold off for pennies on the dollar, including the Silver Dome for, you remember, $583,000. And the water treatment was sold off as well. That makes where Pontiac is today even more impressive. As we close the door on 2020 fiscal year next year, the city projects a fourth straight year with a substantial financial surplus. Good thing. Not as much as the county, Dave Coulter, but we're proud of what we have. All right. On May 1st, I submitted proposed budgets to City Council for the next 5 fiscal years. Every one of them, as I delivered it to Council, was structurally balanced. At the conclusion of this fiscal year, which ends June 30th, we expect an unassigned fund balance of $15.5 million in the general fund. While I am proud of that number, I caution you not to get too excited. We still have a long way to go for sustained financial success. Our surplus gives us a strong foundation, but of course, we will be challenged by COVID-19. For this fiscal year, we have accounted for some cuts to revenue sharing and income tax. Those estimates were based on the best data that we had at the time, but we are still awaiting more information to know the full extent of the costs of revenue cuts next year. But the good news is, there is no way the city could have absorbed the cost of COVID-19 and the expected economic downturn a few short years ago. We are much more financially resilient today, but need our financial reserves to keep us solvent. Like other municipalities, we will be okay as long as the federal and state governments provide the fiscal support we need to offset costs and revenue lost due to COVID-19. Along with City Council, we will work to ensure that CARES Act funding will be used to help with rental and mortgage assistance, as well as the utility payments, to ensure our citizens have the support they need to recover from COVID-19. It was my recommendation in the collaboration with City Council to commit this CARES Act funding for direct assistance to individuals. My executive staff will be calling Pontiac residents to determine their eligibility to receive this money. In these trying times, everyone can use a little bit more cash. With the consortium funded to grant these relief payments, we will be able to put much needed money into the hands of people that need it to subsidize their incomes and protect their families. But beyond COVID-19, 2 of the biggest challenges inherited by emergency management remain. Resolving them this year is essential to keeping Pontiac solvent. In regard to the Cypri lawsuit with the City of Pontiac Retired Employees Association, we have now submitted our application to the IRS according to the settlement agreement and await approval of the IRS for that settlement agreement to restore health care benefits to our retirees. A good thing. If approved, and I'm confident, as confident as we can be with the IRS, I'm confident that this groundbreaking settlement restores health care benefits to Pontiac retirees, and they will approve it. So we can do that with this health care benefits without reducing their pensions 1 penny. In doing so, the city will avoid a potential $42 million liability judgment that would have thrown the city back into bankruptcy. Retirees have been waiting a long time for their health care insurance to be restored. And once we secure the IRS approval, we'll be able to grant this health care insurance to retirees and close this chapter of Pontiac's history. In the meantime, I have pledged to renew the annual pension relief enhanced benefits that will provide some funding and coverage to fill the gap for the retirees while they're waiting for the IRS approval. And we've done that every year while this settlement agreement is being decided. Another hurdle left from the emergency management era is the rehabilitation of the Phoenix Center. Who here has not heard about the Phoenix Center and the travails associated with that? This requires a very candid conversation. The Phoenix Center can serve as an arts and cultural destination and put our placemaking economic development efforts into overdrive. Yet, we are running dangerously short on time to accomplish the fulfillment of the terms of the settlement agreement. When we reached that settlement agreement with Ottawa Towers through nearly 2 years of mediation, the terms require the city to restore and repair the structure back to code. We have fallen behind on that schedule and have less than 5 months to get this done. Just last month, we received the cost estimate, which is now $20.7 million for this portion of the project. By November 1st of this year, according to the settlement agreement, the city was to complete all necessary electrical, lighting, elevator, and serious structural repairs to the deck. However, there is not enough in the $7 million that the City Council has allotted for this to pay those bills. That's why it makes our financial advisor extremely uncomfortable about City Council's decision to take $7 million from our rainy day fund in order to partially repair the Phoenix Center. That is only 1/3 of the amount that is needed to bring the Phoenix Center up to the code demanded by the terms of the settlement agreement. Now that's a big gamble when we already had a legitimate settlement agreement approved with the court to whom the city and council had pledged completion of the terms by November 2020. I have proposed to the council several ways of financing this project, including issuing bonds to spread the cost over several years and prevent a tax increase that people can't afford. Another avenue we've vigorously explored is a public-private partnership that allows the city to use the amphitheater but get Pontiac out of the parking garage business. This was another option that was dismissed by council, was the one that would have created such a partnership and connected a company known for restoring garages, as well as their connection with the entertainment industry that would bring revenue-producing events to that venue. Regardless of the route, the ball is in City Council's court to make a decision. We need our City Council to approve a viable funding source so bids can be assigned and work can begin. So many citizens remember the festivals and events on the amphitheater and ask me if we're ever going to be able to use it again. The big question is, have we learned our lesson from Pontiac's past with the Silverdome? We remember all too painfully how Pontiac rejected sales offers of up to $20 million for the Silverdome, only to have it auctioned off in 2009 by the emergency manager for only $583,000. Pontiac residents missed out because City Council wavered rather than making a decision in that instance. Let's hope that the Phoenix Center won't be deja vu all over again with lack of a sensible decision that will save this property for the citizens. With the Phoenix Center, we could have a premier entertainment venue and parking structure situated on prime real estate at the entry to a growing downtown. That's a valuable asset that will benefit our city and is critical to opening even more development. It is up to City Council now, and I hope they will take action soon. But they need to understand we cannot return to deficit spending and repeat the pain of the past. Failure to act will put the city and its residents at risk for penalties and possible tax levies. If we are found in breach of the settlement agreement, Pontiac could be assessed damages in excess of $30 million. And the court order could order payment immediately, with which would come through as a one-time tax levy against every taxpayer in the city of Pontiac. This is something that the residents of Pontiac cannot afford, and we shouldn't let that happen to them. Let's not let the Phoenix Center default. Let's learn the lessons of the Silver Dome process, and let's get this done. With that, assuming we address those two issues that were left from emergency management, the Cypria lawsuit as well as the Phoenix Center lawsuit, I'm really optimistic about the trajectory we are on as a city. It wasn't that long ago that the county was the largest landowner in the city. Let that sink in. The county was the largest property owner in Pontiac. That happened through foreclosures among the economic downturn. And where there is foreclosure, there is blight, which spreads throughout neighborhoods, devastating property values and providing a safe harbor for criminal activity. It's a ruthless cycle. So in May 2015, with a reported total of 915 properties listed on our dangerous buildings list, as we did a complete survey of the dangerous buildings in the city, we made tackling blight in our neighborhoods a priority. Our philosophy was simple. You are not going to have strong neighborhoods until you get rid of rat-infested, boarded-up homes that drag everything around it down. Too long, this problem of decay had pockmarked our neighborhoods. It was time, long overdue, to make a decisive, commitment to finally eradicating this problem. So to do so, we had to get creative and work together to pay for it by marshaling as much federal money as we could. We applied community development block grant funds to focus on blight. We launched a full court effort with the goal of eliminating blight in the city. I thought it was going to take us a decade. The strategy was three-pronged. First, confirm that buildings listed as dangerous really required demolition. Two, where we could, rehab properties that could be put back into use to increase our housing inventory. And three, demolish structures that were beyond saving. So per the Board of Review, we identified 87 properties that were dismissed from the dangerous buildings list because they had appealed and they were repaired. Working diligently with residents and key stakeholders, we have also rehabilitated 104 properties, turning them into productive use and putting them back on the city tax rolls. They have been successfully restored for residential living. And under this program, for blight elimination, 764 properties have been demolished. That total, good title, we've done it. That total, rehabbed, spared, or demolished structures exceeds the original inventory of 915 dangerous buildings we identified in 2014. I'm very proud to say that we have accomplished our benchmark, and Pontiac is virtually blight-free as we stand here today. There is more good news. The number of properties going before the Board of Appeals has consistently shrunk over the past few years. We are better positioned to keep our city blight-free moving forward. Knocking down boarded-up, burned-out houses goes a long way to revamping a city's image. So does reducing crime and arson and ensuring our children can walk safely to school. Let's talk about the sheriff and the way we have revamped the city image about crime. Prior to contracting out with the Oakland County Sheriff's Department in 2011, violent crime in the city was increasing. Pontiac would often land on the 10 most dangerous cities list in the nation. That, of course, impacted the quality of life and destroyed neighborhoods. It scares away residents and investment. It creates negative perceptions, and it creates another ugly cycle that's hard to break. Per Sheriff Bouchard's office, the statistics show that we have now experienced a 40% decrease in violent crime activity since 2011. Response times that used to be 76 minutes or more are now less than 10 minutes. Good result. And today, Pontiac is no longer, even in the most 100 most dangerous lists, let alone the top 10. We're nowhere in sight of that list anymore. This success has done wonders for improving the quality of life and the city's image. Eliminating blight and reducing crime were just part of our plan to revitalize the city. We knew that after years of decline, Pontiac had too many barriers to business, and business creates opportunity and jobs. The Pontiac of the past had a reputation of a pay-for-play culture. Permitting took much too long. This was detrimental to the business climate, cost prohibitive, and kept investment and jobs away. Something needed to be done, and that something started with the Pontiac Moving Forward plan. We're now 5 years into this plan of economic recovery strategy, and the results are impossible to ignore. We've rebuilt relationships with business and set a protocol with business attraction and retention. The plan lays out strategies that bolster our strengths and capitalize on our local innovation and assets to create a more economically resilient city. And most importantly, it helps us diversify our economy as our city is emerging into a high-tech hub and hotspot for entrepreneurship with companies such as Mad Dog Technologies, Iridetto, Kebediah, and Dasi, for example. There are now 25 high-tech companies that have located in Pontiac in the last 2 years because they found Pontiac a good place to do business. We have changed the narrative about Pontiac and are taking our rightful place as the county seat of Oakland County. So think about the announcements we've had over the past few years. United Shore, our hosts for the second year in a row this evening. And I gratefully thank Matt and Jeff Ishby, the owners, and the United Shore community for graciously hosting us in this incredible facility for the state of the city. Thank you very much. And they've been wonderful hosts. They relocated to Pontiac from the city of Troy. Imagining Pontiac attracting and stealing business from Troy, never would have heard that 10 years ago. And are now the #1 commercial broker in the country. There you go. Growing from 2,500 employees when they came to the city just over a year ago to more than 5,000 as we stand here right now. And they're hiring 150 people a week. All right. Yes. They've hired so many people, they have to build they're reconstructing the building across the street in order to have another campus. And they are in the process of building a pedestrian bridge to connect the two campuses across South Boulevard. This will be the longest pedestrian bridge anywhere in the United States, right here in Pontiac. I mentioned also Williams International bringing its headquarters, another steal for Pontiac, and $1.5 billion in estimated investment to Pontiac over 5 years. I mentioned also companies like Peninsula Plastics, the Korean auto supplier Array, and so many others who have invested millions of dollars in Pontiac and now call it home. I name also development projects like the Village at Bloomfield, representing $250 million in mixed-use development. The $35 million investment at the FedEx freight terminal and the Vanguard property. And the list goes on and on. Yes, we're proud of our manufacturing prowess, but we are embracing our growing high-tech sector in the city. So much progress. And that's not even counting the project that shows the most stark contrast between today and yesterday. In a resurgent Pontiac, we now have Amazon's $250 million project at the former site of the Pontiac Silverdome. Yes, and you saw in the video some of the time-lapse photography that showed the demolition at the Silverdome, the second demolition of the Silverdome, and the time-lapse photography that showed the development of the Amazon properties. One of the buildings is already done and delivered to Amazon, the fulfillment center, and the delivery station, is the first one finished. The fulfillment center will be done next year. And they're working 24/7 to get that done right here in Pontiac. Yeah. That'll be the first time in the nation to have both a fulfillment center and a delivery station on the same site. And this is expected to create 1,500 full-time jobs for the area. That's a great economic development company. Situated along two of Southeast Michigan's biggest highways, this is primetime real estate, and thankfully the people of Pontiac will benefit from it once again. The momentum of the Pontiac Moving Forward plan continues. The number of permits issued by our Department of Building Safety and Planning Division in 2019 increased by 20%. And currently, we have 38 economic development projects underway right now, including the first new multi-residential housing project in 20 years in the city. This is the largest building boom in Pontiac since the early days of General Motors, and it's primed to continue. The economic impact of such growth has been dramatic. Property tax values increased by 11% for 2018, outpacing much of the rest of the county. Last fiscal year, income tax revenues increased to more than $14 million, which is nearly 10% higher than in fiscal year 2018. This is the highest amount of income tax revenues received by the city since 2007, and as a result of new employees coming to Pontiac, including those here at United Shore. While this is all great news, there are many people to recognize. I'd like now to announce our 2020 Partner in Progress Award winners. This is the second year of this award, by which we recognize and honor those who are contributing to the betterment of our community in so many diverse ways. And with that, I would like now to announce the 2020 Partner in Progress Award winners. The first I will call to the podium, and we'll have some assistants there to give them the awards. We were practicing last night and trying to figure out how to keep our 6-foot distance as handling these crystal trophies. So we hope we've got it figured out. But the first I'd like to award and to recognize is a woman I respect, who's president and CEO of McLaren Oakland Hospital in Pontiac. She's an accomplished and well-respected healthcare leader and has extensive experience in acute care, ambulatory, and physician group environments within leading healthcare systems throughout Southeast Michigan. She has been a wonderful partner, as has McLaren, for the years I've been mayor, often sponsoring events to benefit the community. And with that, Margaret Diamond, I would like to welcome you to the stage to receive your award. Should we do it this way? We'll come this close. Great.
My new mask.
Yes, I love them. Okay.
Thank you very much. On behalf of McLaren Oakland, we are very proud to be a part of the city of Pontiac and the transformation. Thank you.
The next 2020 award winner is a name you also recognize. County Executive Warren Evans was elected in Wayne County's 4th county executive in 2014 with a strong mandate from voters to restore ethical leadership to Michigan's largest county as it faced a financial crisis. He restored fiscal stability to the county as it estimated a $52 million structural deficit and $82 million accumulated deficit, while exiting a consent agreement in just 14 months. He dedicated public service, began as a jail deputy for the Wayne County Sheriff, where he became the youngest ever sergeant at age 26 and youngest ever lieutenant at age 28. Warren could not be with us due to other commitments, but he did send his acceptance. Please roll the video.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Mayor Deirdre Waterman for this award. Partners in Progress Award is meaningful to me because I think that's what leadership requires in this day and age. It's what I see from Mayor Waterman in Pontiac, It's what I see from some of our other regional leaders, and it's what we have to see from everyone to move forward. We have to work on inclusion. We have to make sure that we are doing the things that create opportunities for people. Government service is not for everybody. If you want anything more out of it than to provide good service to your citizens, and you're probably in the wrong business. I greatly appreciate this award. Thank you very much, Mayor. And to the other award recipients tonight, congratulations to all of you, and have a great evening.
Thank you for coming and to accepting this on his behalf. All right. Okay, very good.
Pleasure to accept this on behalf of County Executive Evans. He is happy to be a partner in progress with you, Mayor Waterman, and wish you continued success as one of our region's most successful leaders. Thank you very much.
The next award I'm awarding to the members of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, Pontiac Alumni Chapter. Are the Kappas in the house here? All right, accept the award. With over 70 active members, they have been serving the community for 55 years and remain committed to developing future leaders via their Guide Right Kappa League programs. The purpose of their fraternity is to encourage honorable achievement in every field of human endeavor, to promote the spiritual, social, intellectual, and moral welfare of their members, and to assist the aims and purposes of colleges and universities. I'd like to also say that through my association with Bill Waterman, that I'm a Kappa sweetheart, and always will be. And to that, I'd like to present this award to Kappa Alpha Psi. There you go. Curtis Terry. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mayor Waterman, I want to take this opportunity to just say thank you. My name is Curtis Terry, and I'm the pole mark of the Pontiac Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi. And we are actually celebrating our 55th charter day, 55th charter year. We were chartered in Pontiac in 1965. And I am also a very proud, born and educated kid here in the city of Pontiac. So thank you on behalf of Kappa Alpha Psi.
We have another great healthcare partner in the city of Pontiac, St. Joseph Mercy Oakland. And I thought this was a good year, given COVID-19, to recognize our first responders who worked so diligently to protect life during this COVID-19 emergency. And today, I'm going to award this to Shannon Strebick, who is president of St. Joseph Mercy Oakland. She has led the hospital in a major cultural transformation and a $300 million campus redevelopment. As a 443-bed tertiary community teaching hospital in Oakland County, and under her leadership, St. Joseph has developed a reputation for clinical excellence while becoming a regional destination for physicians and patients. I would like to welcome now Shannon Strebick and have you welcome her as an award winner. I kind of have these, so I'm going to hold it for you. It's so great for you to come.
Thank you. Thank you so
Great.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Waterman, for this incredible honor. We are living in unprecedented times, as many of you have mentioned tonight, and it's so wonderful to hear you reflect on the progress that we've made in the city under your leadership. And on behalf of St. Joe's and the caregivers that have come together so wonderfully during this time to take care of our community, we're just so proud to be a part of the transformation of this city. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is a name that we respect and we've come to recognize as we see her fighting in Congress every day. And this is our own Congresswoman, Brenda L. Lawrence, from Michigan's 14th Congressional District. This district includes a portion of Detroit, as well as the city of Southfield and 16 other cities located in Oakland and Wayne counties, but particularly in Pontiac. She's re-elected to the United States House of Representatives in November of 2018, and she serves as the co-chair of the Bipartisan Congressional Caucus for Women's Issues and second vice chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. She was elected mayor of the city of Southfield in November of 2001 and became the first African American and the first woman to serve in that place. She could not be with us today, but send her acceptance, and at this time we're going to roll the video.
Hello, I'm Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, proudly representing Michigan's 14th Congressional District. Although I could not be with you all today, I'm honored to accept the Partner in Progress Award. I want to give a special thank you to Mayor Waterman and the City of Pontiac for this award. And I want to thank you all for the positive and significant work that you're doing in the community. I sit before you today having a moment to reflect on my career, community service, public awareness, which has always been my #1 priority. Ladies and gentlemen, our country is hurting, but we must rely on each other as a community to push forward and continue fighting for better days. As a young black girl from the east side of Detroit, I learned early, as Theodore Roosevelt once said, nothing worth having comes easy. I stand on the shoulders of so many great leaders who came before me and paved the way. As a result, I have learned the power in my voice and will continue to fight for the city of Pontiac and Michigan's 14th District. It was once said, we cannot become what we need to be by remaining what we are. I am committed to continue to fight, to grow, and to be the leader that this country needs. I want to thank you again for this amazing award. I couldn't have done it without you. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you all soon.
Rose? Yes. There you go. Give that to the Congressman for us.
On behalf of Congresswoman Lawrence, I am honored to accept this on her behalf. Thank you again to Mayor Waterman and the great city of Pontiac, truly a city of transformation and growth.
We have now another Greek organization which is near to dear to my heart, and that's the Alpha Kappa sorority, the chapter that I belong to, Theta Lambda Omega. I'm so proud of my sorors for all the community service they have done, and especially have doubled down on that since I've been mayor to support one of their sorors in her quest to bring civic betterment to her community. They have been partners in that throughout. And I'm also proud of all the mentoring they do for both young women and young men. This is the 46th year, I believe, Cheryl, that we have hosted the cotillion for young debutantes, teaching them social issues and social responsiveness, and such a beautiful debutante ball that they have every year, which has brought millions of dollars in scholarships to these recipients. So at this time, it's my pleasure to bring together the bacheloress of the chapter, Ms. Cheryl Blake. There you are, Cheryl. I saw her.
Thank you, Soror Waterman. On behalf of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Theta Lambda Omega Chapter, we are very honored to receive this and to be a part of Pontiac community. Thank you.
Some of the People Award winners, they have written descriptions of them for me here. but some of them are so near to my heart and know I'm speaking from my own experience and the partnership. And the next award winner is one of those. Alessandro, known as Sandro Danello, the president of Flagstar Bank. And I do that because he's served as president, CEO, and a director of Flagstar Bank and Flagstar Bancorp since mid-2013. Prior to his current position, he was president and chief administrative officer of Flagstar Bank, and for a number of years, executive vice president of retail banking. He has played a critical role in the strengthening of the bank's risk management, compliance, and quality control platforms. He has been such a partner to Pontiac. In probably the second year of my administration, he came and brought many of his Flagstar executives and said, I see the progress, I know the help Pontiac needs, tell me how Flagstar Bank can be a help in that. And I told them our businesses needed access to capital. People couldn't get mortgages, redlined here. And he said, let me go figure it out. And he came back a couple months later and he said, you know what? I'm going to grant a $10 million grant to the city of Pontiac to support businesses and economic development in this city. That was the first $10 million grant, Flagstar Bank, Sandro Danello, and I thank you for that. You've been true to that pledge, have followed up. And I remember when you announced this at the press conference at the Western Lawn Tennis Club at that time, you said, and I was listening carefully, you said, this is the first $10 million, okay? So we're trying to make sure that we use that and put it to good use because we're gonna try to build our way up to that second $20 million. But today, if he's in the house, I would like to award this to Sandro Danello. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, I know. Great.
Well, what can I say? I love this lady. When I first met her and I felt the passion in her voice for what she wanted to accomplish for Pontiac, I was very, very impressed, and I said, we got to figure out how we can help her. Mm-hmm. And I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. Good. It's not easy, especially to do it in the political environment that you've had to struggle through to get done what you've done. Mm-hmm. To have surpluses, it's amazing. You surrounded yourself with some good people, I have, which is what great leaders do. Mm-hmm. And I congratulate you for your success.
Thank you.
And I want you to know that now I need your help.
Okay.
No, seriously, because we are at a crossroads. Your city's at a crossroads, and so is this country. Mm-hmm. And we have to find ways to change and be better, and to not just talk about it, but to do something about it. Right. So now you need to tell me how you can help me be a better person, and for our company to be a better company when it comes to correcting the social and racial injustices that exist in our world. So thank you.
With great partners like that, no wonder we're having success. I thank you. The next person is known to all of you. She has played many roles in the city. Some of them you may remember. In fact, she was deputy mayor of the city for a while. And as I became mayor, and she came to me and said, yeah, we've got to get you reelected. I'm so proud that you were the first woman mayor. And she said, she recalled wistfully about her days as being deputy mayor. And she said, at that time, it was so difficult for a woman. And I knew they would never elect me mayor. But I'm so proud of what you've done. And I want to get you reelected because you can bring stability to the community. She has served many posts, and she is renowned for her presentation. When Maddie Hatchett is in the house, you know the Commissioner Emeritus is present. She has served many positions for the city of Pontiac. She's been on the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, and she made history in 2011 when she became the first African-American woman to serve as president of the Michigan Association of Counties. Yes. She is a well-respected leader who has served in many capacities over the years in the community and as a school district board member. At one point, she served as the Pontiac deputy mayor, as I told you, and is a noted instructor for the National Baptist Congress. Please help me in welcoming again our very own Commissioner Emeritus, Maddie Hatch.
Get this right.
I'm gonna help you hold it because it's kind of heavy.
Thank you.
You got it? Okay.
First of all, I want to thank God for allowing me. Yeah, I didn't need this mic.
We know that.
I'll step back. I want to thank God for allowing me to serve the Pontiac community for almost 57 years. Secondly, I want to thank Mayor Waterman for presenting me with this award and acknowledging what God has allowed me to do in the Pontiac community. Because without him, and without him selecting me for the particular role that I've played in this city that I love, I wouldn't have been able to accomplish anything. So to God be the glory, and thank you for allowing me to do that testimony for him.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maddie, for all you've done for 57 years in this community. Our next award winners are representing an organization which has done so much to lift the spirits in times of trouble for the city of Pontiac. They represent an organization called Pontiac Universal Crimes. This is a group represented by these two people, Raheem Harris and Bonita Cameron, who have done so much in times when people are beset with tragedies in their family, untimely deaths. We were on City Hall steps 2 days ago when one of our employees, Troy Kraft, announced and had a gathering for his niece who had been found murdered at age 25, far too young. And it was Raheem and Cameron who gathered a group together to talk about how we had to commit ourselves to, as Pontiac family, gathering around this family which has been beset by this tragedy. He has done that so many times, has brought the community together, and I think that's a sense of community and a sense of how we lift each other up, how we support each other, and we have talk about the values that make a Pontiac the family and the community it is. So at this time, I would like you to also know the work of Raheem Harris and Bonita Cameron, Pontiac Universal Crimes. Hey there. You gonna do it both? Okay. There you go. All right, good. Do you want to say a word?
Good evening, my people. Good evening. My name is Raheem Harris, founder, CEO of Pontiac Universal Crimes. First, I would like to thank God, my Savior, and I would like to thank our Mayor, Deidre Waterman. But I'm not going to hold you long. I want to let Ms. Bonita let you know a little bit about what the Pontiac Universal Crimes do. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bonita Cameron, also known as Miss B with Pontiac Universal Crimes. Pontiac Universal Crimes is an organization that is a nonprofit domestic violence organization. We started out bringing awareness of gun violence in the city of Pontiac. Through that, we have touched many lives of many people. I would like to say that it's not just about gun violence, it's about any violence in the city of Pontiac. We try to bring awareness to it and bring some closure for families. I have been given an opportunity and a platform through the city of Pontiac. Thank you, Mayor Waterman. Thank you, residents of the city of Pontiac, for allowing us to serve you, whether it's from the morgue or to the cemetery. I thank you for allowing us to bring awareness of people that have been killed and found in our city. I thank you for giving us an opportunity to come into your churches, into your homes, and to bring closure for your families. We will be having our annual Founders Day, the 25th of July. If you would like to give any donations, please pound, $ PUC 218. We would give anybody assistance in the city of Pontiac. It's not just someone who is killed. Anybody who needs our assistance, please give us a call. Thank you very much.
Next, yes. Next we have Veronica Taylor, who many of you have seen recently. She has been very active in terms of phone banking and voter registration and building the community's efforts to make sure people know the issues before them and get out to vote. That is so important, and it's important to build the compliance and the eligibility of voters in Pontiac, which technically has had low compliance for a number of years. So she has done a lot of that. She is all over town and keeps me apprised of some of the latest district activities, and she has more energy than anybody I know around. I thank her so much for all she's done to keep us apprised and as a community address this important issue of voting and being aware and involved in the issues of our time. And for that, I would like to have you welcome Veronica Taylor. Looks so nice. Okay, very good. You want to say a few words? You want to say a few words? Okay.
First of all, I'll give honor to God, who's the head of my life. Secondly, it is an honor and a pleasure to get this award from the mayor, the city of Pontiac. I tried to keep you all abreast of what's going on for us to vote. Excuse me, I'm all choked up. You got to understand, my godmother is Miss Mattie Hatchett, and to be able to get this award on the same time that she gave, and she has been mentoring me to go this far. I don't even have words enough to thank her. So yes, I am very grateful for Miss Mattie Hatchett in steering in me all the values and morals that she has given this country and this city. I want to share this with my godmother that I love deeply. And I thank you, Mayor. And please, don't forget to vote here on August 5th. I need you to please return your absentee application. It's very important. Thank you. And Pontiac, do your census.
That's right, Veronica. It's important in the city, and she knows how to emphasize that. I have a number of special awards now, and two of these I'm calling the Millennial Young Leaders Awards. We know that many of the people who make change in our era are the younger people. And it's important for us to groom and to get them prepared for leadership in our communities. In Pontiac, there's not a lot of opportunities for young people who want to learn about government to have roles and play in government. So we are finding ways within the administration to mentor, to recruit, and to identify young leadership so that we can teach them how to become part of something that they aspire to in civic and political duty. One of those that I want to award today is somebody who's been part of my administration. Her name is Alexandria Riley, who began her commitment to service at the tender age of 11 years old by anchoring youth news on 2 local television stations and writing weekly articles for the Oakland Press, the Citizens Post, and Michigan Chronicle newspapers. Reminds me of myself. Maybe that's why I admire her so much. In her current role with the Waterman administration, Alexandria has been able to successfully identify, procure, and receive awards in excess of over $1 million in grant dollars for the City of Pontiac residents this fiscal year alone. We're so happy that she has chosen to work with us and work with her community and show the promise that we would hope for many other millennial young leaders who can lead in this community. Alexandria Riley, okay. All right, I have this one for you. I think you can hold it by yourself. You can speak.
Thank you. Good evening.
Uh-oh. That can be done again. All right.
Thank you. Good evening.
Sorry.
I thank God for this opportunity, and I stand here with profound humility. As a native daughter of Pontiac, I learned early on at a young age to be active and to give back to my community. In fact, my very first experience in public service was at 9 years old working in Commissioner Mattie McKinney Hatchett's campaign. So to stand here today and be honored alongside her and so many pillars of our community, it's a tremendous honor. Thank you, Mayor Waterman, and congratulations to all of the attendees. Let me just say, right here, right now, something is going on within our city and within cities across the nation. Young people are rising up and for a just cause in doing so. And Pontiac has always been at the forefront as a leader in innovation, industry, and also in social justice and in building up the next generation of leadership. Dr. King once said, service is the rent we pay here on earth. And my service has been enhanced through you, Mayor Waterman. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the positive example. And as you honor me tonight, I would like to give honor to you. So many young people look at this moment in our history, and they look back to the civil rights moment. You have been a part of the process, leading the way for social justice and equality. You risked your life and your children's lives in that noble cause and during that effort. And you continue serving side by side with young leaders, making it happen today. So on behalf of an entire generation, I thank you, and I say thank you all.
We have a lot of hope for Pontiac's future with so many young, accomplished leaders who are waiting their turn in the wings and being trained for leadership roles. The next special award goes to the Pontiac Alumni Marching Band, and Dennis Thompson was the founder of that. This was a group that reinvigorated itself and launched its reorganization for my State of the City address last year. I know they were the highlight as they came in here 30 members strong with their timpani drums and marching down the aisles, and I almost didn't have to speak because the crowd was so impressed and inspired by their presentation that they got 2 standing ovations. So I kind of didn't want to follow that, but I'm so happy that today to be able to give them this reward. And they have been recognized since they have reformed and have performed all over the county and several places in the state now that they have reunited, representing Pontiac and reminding us of the days of old when we had that rivalry. So I'm going to ask them to come forward. We have several of them here, along with Dennis Thompson, their leader, and I would like to present them this special award for millennial young leaders in the community. Oh, there they are, right there. Good. Shall we present this? We'll take a picture. Oh, yeah, we don't need it for a minute. All right, good. Don't drop it. Okay.
Good evening to Pontiac. I truly like to give honor to God, who indeed is the head of my life and who is my life, to everyone that is here, to Mayor Waterman, to her staff, Deputy Mayor DeCesar. I truly count it a blessing to be here tonight. It was our goal a year ago, and it's just kind of mind-blowing how things can just come in complete full circle. That when music was kind of dying out in Pontiac, you know, myself and along with my assistant director, Jamar Menard, who's also here tonight, my drum captain, Mr. Lamar Hunt, who's also here tonight, Ms. Cami Azaria, who's also our band secretary, members of our executive cabinet, who's here tonight. We took a collaborative effort to really rebuild music here in Pontiac and to have a community marching band where it does not restrict you to a particular school, but we have one goal. You know, it was our goal 1 year ago to have kids go to school. Now we have gained connections with Hampton University. We've gained connections with North Carolina A&T University. We've gained connections with Langston University. We've gained connections with Lincoln University in Lincoln, Missouri. So it's just a complete honor to just completely be a blessing to the kids here in the city of Pontiac. I'm no stranger to hard work. You know, I've been on every committee that Mayor Waterman has put together for the jam sessions for this year and 2 years ago, where there was no room to get in. I've been around politics for about 27 years, 28 years. I'm 35 years old now. I started when I was 7, 8 years old with this fine young lady right here about 3 rows back. I was her yard sign guy. That long, long time ago, I was her yard sign guy. She used to get on me, as Dad Elam used to say, as the little crumb snatcher, because sometimes I used to try to cheat the process. And Maddie Hatchett wouldn't let us cheat the process as young kids. To my dear friend Alexandria, I thank you. To her, she's been so inspirational to me ever since we were children. You know, me and Alexandria, we came up together, and she's my Batman and I'm her Robin. We in this thing together. I mean, and I love Alexandria from the bottom of my heart. She knows when she needs me, she can call me. The census committee we're on, so God bless everybody. I take no gratitude, no glory for this award at all. This goes right back to my camp, to my organization, the Pontiac All-Star Marching Band, because I am nothing without the people behind me to make it happen. All of their hard work, all of the countless hours that they put in. I mean, I am truly humble and elated to the committee, to whoever thought of us. I truly, truly thank you. And we're going to keep going and only start here. God bless you.
That's great. The next very special award I'm calling the Toastmaster Award. I try to keep this secret, but because this gentleman has been my good luck charm, he's been my master of ceremonies for, I think, every State of the City address that I've done except the first one. And before I tell you, because you will instantly recognize him, I'm just going to talk about him a little bit. He is the President Emeritus of AARP Michigan. As president, he had the responsibility of leading AARP's 1.4 million members and served as the organization's chief spokesperson. He retired from General Motors after serving as vice chairman of the General Motors Foundation and director of General Motors Global Philanthropic Administration. GM's contributions under his leadership were $125 million per year. Prior to this assignment, he held several management positions on General Motors finance staff, including plant controller in Pontiac. But I know him as the Toastmaster Supreme and moderator of so many events in Pontiac. For example, our holiday extravaganza parade, where would it be without Tom announcing the floats as they go by and building enthusiasm for that year after year. So he is here to get the Toastmaster Award, but because he's always been there when we need him, and I want you to give a rousing applause to Tom Kimball. Doing a fine job. Are you announcing the elected officials? Did they give you the list?
No, I will.
Okay. All right. Oh yeah. Take that off. You want to take it off?
I don't want you to give me nothing.
In that case, ask the Marine for the list so you can do it later. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Waterman. You know I don't like surprises. And you told me I was going to be the MC. You didn't tell me you're going to be giving me no award. But I need to give you an award tonight. And that's the award for getting me out of the house after 3.5 months. This is my first outing. I was going crazy. So thank you so much. And thank you for this award, I guess. Every man has to ask himself the question, has my living been in vain? And this is indicative of maybe I just did one thing right, all right? And I'm appreciative of that. Now, this is not going to get me into heaven, but it sure will get me in the pearly gates to argue my case. Thank you so much.
So it was with gratitude that I've given these awards tonight. There are some people who accompanied the people who actually came on stage. I'm going to ask them to stand as well so that we can see who came with Kappa Alpha Psi, Pontiac Marching Band, anybody else who accompanied. As we give one last round of applause to all the award winners, I also want to ask the award winners from 2019, if any award winners from 2019 are here, also to stand. So you see, Pontiac has indeed had progress and is very lucky to have such partners who have helped move the city along so wonderfully. And they have all kinds of skill sets and support for the city and such goodwill in so many different ways. So hearing about their accomplishments and the things they have done so graciously for the city, I think that's a wonderful segue to talk about marijuana now. So the time is here to use medical marijuana as an economic development tool for the city. I'm proud to say that following months of moratoriums, amendments, and ordinance changes, the city is fast-tracking medical marijuana in the city, which will offer many community benefits. This was passed by a vote of the people. There was a referendum that was brought to the city, and it was passed by one vote. But in a democracy, the majority rules. And so under that mandate, we are now instituting medical marijuana in the city of Pontiac. So the city is now in the process of reviewing the 108 medical marijuana applications that have been received. And over the next 60 to 90 days, the interim clerk, Garland Doyle, who by this referendum passed by the voters, is the authority in terms of handling application reviews in the city of Pontiac. That was just the way the voters voted it in. So the clerk has stated that his office will complete the process to approve 20 new medical marijuana dispensaries and related businesses to operate in the city of Pontiac. All predictions point to the fact that the medical marijuana industry will serve as a vital catalyst with a dramatic estimated economic impact. and that's what I'm looking at. The economic impact includes $261 million estimated in development citywide, $8.4 million in annual tax revenue, and more than 200 jobs. So this has been a long and difficult road to get to this point after all the moratoriums and the delays. And going forward from here, we will support the interim clerk, Garland Doyle, in every way we can to speed along this process, because many of the people who are here who wanted to invest in the people when this initiative was passed are now waiting to have some decision made. So while economic development is critical to growing our tax base, we're looking for ways to continue to invest in our community and our people and improve our quality of life. What good are those jobs in medical marijuana if we aren't creating access for the people of Pontiac to get them, or any other industry for that matter? One of the key components of the Pontiac Moving Forward plan that I talk about is to educate and develop the workforce. And we're doing that by building a more sophisticated pipeline to jobs that exist today while preparing students for the jobs of tomorrow. We have established a jobs pipeline in the city to connect new jobs and employers in the city with available Pontiac residents who want better paying jobs or new careers. This is assessed through our HR department, and information can be found on our website with the listing of these available matches with employers and jobs. There is also a jobs pipeline phone number, which we have advertised, which interested residents can speak directly to one of our human resource staff. That number is 248-758-3JOB. And to date, we have matched many deserving Pontiac residents with job opportunities. Many of the initiatives of Pontiac Moving Forward have been accomplished through the partnerships we have forged over the past 5 years. Significant among those is the spirit of collaboration and the growing partnership with Oakland University under the stellar leadership of Dr. Ora Hirsch-Peskovitz. The OU Pontiac Initiative has successfully united urban achievement and academic excellence. Through this partnership, we have mobilized more than 400 individuals, 75 community organizations, and have about 50 projects and initiatives that benefit both entities. This week, the initiative has awarded 20 different organizations, individuals, and nonprofits with community sponsorship grants for projects that will benefit Pontiac and its residents through programs in one of the following areas. Number 1, education. 2, the arts. 3, economic and workforce development. 4, civic engagement. 5, nonprofit organizations. And the last one, health and wellness. Another part of this collaboration is the Talent Development Coalition established by the Marshall Plan grant that was awarded to this city and the consortium founded here. The TDC seeks to provide jobs for the and underemployed through high-need talent development programs in construction, advanced manufacturing, business and information technology, and healthcare. It's another example of what we can achieve when we come together. This program has already graduated its first class of students and is orienting its second class right now. Beyond our relationship with OU, we are also working to reverse some of the damage done under emergency management. The fire sale included 4 of our community centers that benefited our children. So we're happy to say we have now again acquired a youth center in a wonderful facility we acquired on Gulf Drive that the youth of Pontiac love, with its big gymnasium and multiple programming and enrichment offerings. During this time, while the youth center was closed to on-site programming, we have creatively continued to engage and motivate our youth through virtual programming in partnership with the virtual club offered by the Boys and Girls Clubs. We're reconnecting with the Boys and Girls Clubs as a partner to the city. You know, at one time, they had 2 Girls and Boys Clubs facilities here in the city of Pontiac. Those left. We're happy now to be bringing the Boys and Girls Club interest back into the city of Pontiac and helping our youth. Yes. One exciting announcement under this virtual platform will be a video production contest that is being sponsored by rap artist Ludacris Ludacris's foundation. Now, I can see all the millennials say, yay, yay, and some of the rest of you aren't quite sure who Ludacris is. I know, so I'm a hip mayor. But, so we're bringing him, and we're going to have our staff, our Youth Recreation and Enrichment Center staff will be reaching out to our youth to offer them opportunities and assistance to produce their own videos to compete for these prizes. Okay. Just something that we're doing for youth activity enrichment to enhance education of our youth and expand their horizons and their opportunities. We have also heavily invested in our 2 senior centers, which are now thriving and have increased programming activities. We are supporting our senior population with innovative ways to enhance their quality of life and with initiatives to aid seniors age in place. Pontiac is proud of our senior population, and keeping them healthy and active in a supportive environment is a goal of this administration. Now, because of our careful fiscal planning, we are working prudently and methodically to restore our Department of Public Works staff back to pre-crisis levels to better maintain our roads and our parks. My administration is implementing a capital improvement plan to address some of our infrastructure issues, including aging city buildings and roads. A comprehensive solution would require the state to fix its broken municipal finance system, but that's a conversation for another day. Parks are something else, an asset to the city that I'd like to build on moving forward. It's one of the assets the emergency managers didn't sell off. They left that alone. Our kids deserve the same recreational opportunities as the rest of the county, and we're making positive strides in doing that through our youth center and other programming activities. We appreciate the volunteer groups who help us maintain our 28 beautiful neighborhood parks. Where there are volunteers willing to put in sweat equity, we provide grants for what we call the neighborhood empowerment projects. These are projects that, if there are volunteers who want to put in sweat equity, the administration through the executive office will fund those. And over the past 3 years, we have had wonderful public works projects through the NEP, such as installing new park pavilions at Shirley and Willard Park, Rotary Park, Richardson Park, and yes, our own Mattie Hatchett's Park. Other projects for the NEP include completing a forestation project in the historic General Motors Modern Housing District. And one project I'm excited about working with is the partners to create a permanent connection for the Clinton River Trail to the North Spur to close the gap that exists for that trail in the city. This will create more access to recreational opportunities for our residents and better connect them to the surrounding trails. And this year, we are installing a disc golf course at Hawthorne Park as part of the NEP project program. This is a really fun game, and that is essentially throwing a frisbee into a basket as you walk around a course. Lots of exercise, lots of opportunities to enjoy our parks. As we all realize, more options for physical activity lead to healthier lifestyles. And as we've all been sheltered in place for so long, I'm glad we got you out, Tom. We are looking for more ways for our citizens to enjoy the things we can enjoy in our parks and our other public places. Now, another critical aspect for Pontiac's future is the census. Census data informs first responders and disaster recovery personnel as they determine where help is needed. Census data also drives funding for our health clinics and social safety nets. The 2020 census will determine congressional representation and determines Pontiac's share of hundreds of billions of dollars in federal funding every year. And you can bet that businesses over the next 10 years will look at census data when deciding where to invest and to bring jobs. We can show growth from the years 2010, the last census, to 2020, particularly among our young populations, and we just need everyone to complete the forms. Pontiac started working with the Census Bureau 2 years ago because Pontiac was recognized as one of the cities that had low compliance back in 2010, and they didn't want that to happen again. So in response to that need, we developed a complete count committee to increase compliance in Pontiac, which in the 2010 census was in some areas only 30%, devastating low. We're determined to increase that compliance ratio this year. While we are proud of our committee's work in achieving that goal, there is a lot left to do in the time that the Census Bureau has extended till October. Because of COVID-19, they've extended it that long, although it was originally intended to end end of July. To date in Pontiac, we have a self-response rate just over 58%. The state as a whole is averaging just under 60%, so we're below the state. For every person, man, woman, or child who doesn't complete the census, that means Pontiac loses $1,800 a year in revenue that we could use to fix your roads, your sidewalks, and to provide health benefits. We could also use it for funding programs such as WIC and subsidized lunches for our students. Those are all determined the amount we get by the census data. It will be 10 years until the next census. So that means for every man, woman, and child who does not complete that census application, that's an $18,000 loss to the city for every person who does not complete the census form. We estimate that as of right now, based on Pontiac's response, we're at risk of leaving $44 million on the table that should rightfully come to this community. We simply cannot afford to lose that money. With all the progress we've made in Pontiac, it would be a shame if we let that momentum slow because of an undercount. Here in Pontiac, everyone counts. We hope we can depend on you to be counted, Pontiac. Now, standing right here, I'm going to offer the challenge to Pontiac that if we can increase our compliance levels to at least 75% this summer, I will seek and pledge right here to obtain the sponsorship for a Census Friday night Unity in the Community concert series at our parks. I'm saying that right here. So I'm offering that to you, Pontiac. Please get out, fill those census forms. It's so important. Now, of course, this challenge and an offering will depend upon the governor's orders on outside gatherings. But if necessary, we can also arrange to safely enjoy the concerts from our cars if we need to do that. The price of admission is completing your census form, so please do that. All right. So just to remind people, due to the pandemic, the deadlines for the census have been pushed back. Residents have until October 31st to complete the census form. If you receive the census form in the mail, please fill it out and return it, or you can complete it online at my2020census.gov. It takes about 10 minutes to complete. It's just a short form, no long form this year. And that's 10 minutes for 10 years of funding. We need you to do that. Everyone counts. So I want to close tonight with my comment on the racial tensions that have been flaring across the country and the movement toward social justice and police reform that is being voiced. The murder of George Floyd and the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on the African American population have laid bare the inequities and systemic oppression that continue today. I agree with the City Council that passed a resolution saying that racism is a public health crisis. As the first female mayor of Pontiac, I also speak to you as the proud daughter of Dr. Horace Holloway. As a physician, my father fought through segregation to become one of the first black doctors at the former Highland Park General Hospital. My mother, who's watching this evening by Facebook Live, hi Mom, Dorothy Bird Holloway, is an accomplished musician living in Southfield and the first African American woman to serve on the board of the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. Yes. She was an original founding board member of what is now known as the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. My late husband, well known to so many in Pontiac and remembered, Judge William Waterman was the chief judge of the 50th District Court, which was named after him posthumously. As a general counsel for the NAACP, along with attorney Elbert Hatchett, he won the landmark case, Davis versus School District of the City of Pontiac, which desegregated Pontiac schools. This case set a precedent as it was the first district in the North to be ordered to use busing to achieve integration. And some of you were around during that time, and you remember the racial tensions that followed, including violent aggression and the bombing of the school buses. And this tore the city apart. That struggle and the threats made to my family, to my husband, still remained at the forefront of my mind today. I remember how he used to drive in a different car every day, protected by pastors, and how the FBI called us every morning to make sure where his whereabouts were, and made sure there was somebody waiting at the curb for me as I came back from my residency in Detroit, and waited till I walked in the house and turned on the lights. I remember those times. We stand once again at one of those watershed moments. As a city, we've rebounded from emergency management as well as anyone could have predicted. As a nation, we've been forced to look in the mirror to see how we can be the better nation that we can and should be. The hatred and racism we've seen is uglier and more widespread than many of us would have imagined still existed. What I would say to the nation is what Black people in Pontiac and cities across this country have been saying for generations. We want freedom. We want opportunity. We want a better life for our children. These are universal things every human being wants. We matter. Our lives matter. We deserve the same chances as everyone else, but that's just not going to happen without overhauling the system. Many people think Pontiac's heydays was decades ago when General Motors was king and the big three were at their peak. But what they fail to realize is that this country has oppressed the potential and talent of African Americans generation after generation, and done so by the designs of the privileged. It's been nearly 50 years since those buses burned in Pontiac, and we have made progress. The fact that our demonstrations to protest the killing of George Floyd were peaceful proves we've come a long way, and Pontiac is stronger and more diverse. But we need to ask ourselves what we might have accomplished if everyone, no matter their skin color, had the opportunity to reach their full potential. How different things might have been had we spent the past 50 years across this country learning, living, and laughing with people of all colors in a fully integrated society. As this country does its soul searching, I worry that in time, after the demonstrations are over, most people will again move on. Unless, of course, we come together as a country and make an intentional, policy-driven effort to end racism and discrimination and create systemic opportunity for people of color. Yes, indeed, let's make America great again. Great with the pledge of opportunity and fulfillment. Great with the respect for the strength that diversity gives us, and for each individual regardless of creed, race, or culture. Great with the strength of character that has made America the role model of the world for freedom and liberty. Great because we listen to the voices that are united in a movement that speaks out for the changes and the reforms that will make America what we know we can be. Great with fairness, equity, and equal justice for all. Great because we'll stop spending so much on punishment and more on promise. We know how to fulfill hope, and we know that the best way to stop a bullet is with a job and with hope. Great because we have had the uncomfortable conversations about racism and prejudice that we know we must have in order to bring the change we have been looking for so long. If we rise to this moment as a city and a country, I believe the heydays of Pontiac are not behind us, but they're ahead of us. Pontiac is ready. We can do it. And let's do it together, Pontiac. Pontiac pride is in the house. Peace out. All right, thank you. Thank you. Tom? Thank you, thank you. Okay. All right. I'm done. What happens next? Okay, Mark comes next. My job's over.
Are we having someone sing, I thought, on the program. Okay. So just one more round of applause for the mayor, please. All right. Outstanding. I want to thank you all. Congratulations to all the awardees. And as a fellow Greek, I'd like to acknowledge Kappa Alpha Psi and also Alpha Kappa Alpha. I am a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. We have to acknowledge all the Greeks, of course. And I want to make sure we acknowledge all the elected officials who are here as well. Please rise so we can acknowledge the elected officials. Thank you. Anybody's here, let's acknowledge. Thank you very much. We also want to, again, acknowledge the Partners of Progress Award, the Millennial Young Leaders Award, and Toastmasters Award winners as well. So thank you all. For those who view the program via Facebook Live, for those of you in the auditorium, due to COVID-19, we have to honor our social distancing rules and will not be able to congregate in the lobby this year. So we are asking you to please leave the room in a somewhat separated fashion. Please keep 6 feet distance between all of you. And we want to thank one more time United Shore for hosting this evening as well. Thank you all. And good night. And we have someone who's going to sing. All right.
Listen, y'all gonna sing this with me together, right?
All
Everybody
right.
know the Black National Anthem? Let's do it together. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it, loud as the rolling seas. And let's sing. Sing a song full of the faith that the
darkness has gone.
Oh, y'all know it for real, for real. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Well, we can go home. God bless
All right,
y'all.
good night, everybody. Thank you, thank you.